1 hour and a half. And I hope that you have enjoyed your virtual journey to California in being a general manager of a wine company, being a different type of manager. And the session which we're going to do together is discussion-led as far as possible. And normally in a class session, this would take up to 3 hours even. So there will be moments when I will be pushing you forward to rush forward so that we get through the 6 major topics I would like to go through with you. The plan I have for you is first to have a loose and informal discussion how the game progress and process was for you individually. Please share with us how you went about, how you liked it, what observations you have made. The second part will be more intellectually driven by strategy and theory. At one point, I would like to talk to you about what is the business strategy this company could or should follow. How is this related to team and individual flows and characters? At a certain point, if time allows, I might even switch on Fligby and have a group discussion in a scene with you, for example, 10 or 11. Then I would like to talk to you about the overall good business principles, how to integrate these aspects I just mentioned. And then, of course, I would like to announce who's the winner of the Spirit of the Wine Award, the big winner. And then there will be also discussion about something we have only alluded to so far, your leadership skills, the 29 leadership skills, the profiling, how to interpret what appears in the system. And towards the end, we'll have a special announcement. And I would like to speak to you also about the next steps, how to proceed in terms of the process. So now it is actually the opportunity for us to discuss amongst each other how you like the game, how you went about. I've noticed that some of you, I don't know who's in which group today or tomorrow exactly, but some of you played very, very early on after I had shared the access, and some of you did it right now, last night, more or less, over the weekend. So please share with me and with us some of your personal insights and feelings, how the game was for you. Some of you, please. Can I ask you, Andrei, how was the game process for you?
Well, it was, well, I think in general it was good. I think on a couple of occasions, what I was missing is opportunity to kind of rewind the scene, because occasionally you just press the fast forward button and then you can't really correct. And second, there were a few occasions where the question was not really clear. Yeah, and therefore you, for example, selected one of the options that was provided to you, thinking it was something different that the game perceived it to be. So, I mean, so it was, you perceived it to be kind of continuation of a discussion, whereas it was, in fact, kind of a decision, and you didn't really mean it. Yeah, so there were kind of a couple of instances like that. So it was, for this reason, not 100% kind of clear flow.
Yes.
For me at least.
Yes. So there will be some special announcement towards the end, and you will see that. And also, this is the situation for all of you. So the good thing is that based on this same unclear situations, we all have to make decisions in our real lives as well, of course. So sometimes you have intentions to make a statement and it comes over as an order, or sometimes you ask a question in a company and it comes across like just like an opinion. So I think this is fine for as an experience, and thank you for your initiative and your aspects. Thailand, how was the game for you?
Actually, it was quite interesting. Frankly speaking, it was better than I expected. Actually, the questions and the tensions which you mentioned, I found it quite useful from my point of view. And the feedback by Fligby inside the game was also useful. Sometimes I hesitated about my decisions, but I tried to be myself. I didn't try to think about what would be the right answer. So the feedbacks were quite useful for me. So thank you once again for.
Yes, Thailand. Can you share with all of us what is it that you personally have learned from it? Share with us, please, your thoughts. I mean, what in particular?
First of all, for example, in terms of time allocation and micromanagement and personal satisfaction, I see that it's really the CEO or the general manager means that only the managing people, not managing the company, because you do not do the work at the end of the day. The people do the work for you. So you have to manage the people or you have to change them. But you have to be crystal clear about your vision and in your behaviors, and you should be consistent. At least that's one of the most important things. So that's what I learned, basically.
Yes. So we will see when we start to speak of the skills that there is a set of getting things done as a leadership style, from execution, doing it yourself, towards completely empowering the other people, and in between organizing and delegating. And I think you need all four of these. And part of the leadership development journey, of course, is to find the right balance between having control yourself and then lead the team and leave it to others and to do it. So that's interesting. Rustam, for you, please. How did you go about? Did you play in one go? Did you have interruptions?
Yeah. So for me, yeah, I was the one who started to play on the weekends only, and for me it was, basically even one day, half a day or more than a day, half a day I spent playing a game with some, pauses. But I liked it a lot. I really found that it's kind of close to reality, right? The challenges basically you face in your day-to-day management, and what I saw here is pretty similar. Also, the conclusion for me was that being a general manager, it's not basically you have to be good basically at almost at each and every leadership skill. Right, so you need to have a balanced skill set. You cannot be only good in delegating and bad in time management, or or setting objectives and goals. So you have to actually literally know each aspect, right, and be good at it, right? You may not be best at everything, but you need really what was the kind of I just confirmed that you need to have a very, very good balance in everything, right? Otherwise, if you miss one point and you're lacking it, it can hit you some way and one day. Also, I agree with Andrei's comment about because still you are in some boundaries of frames, right? Basically, sometimes you could have decided even differently than it was offered by the game. Yeah. And you kind of see that you could have managed a different way, but you are have to choose between, and then you go for it, and then there are some consequences which you basically didn't really mean. I can even give one example, right? Maybe we can discuss it later. Yeah, but overall, I found that it just really close to reality, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Yes, in the next section, I will ask you to bring in maybe particular situations where you would like to have a discussion with others, with each other, like in a classroom you would do, and we will focus on that decision. Bulat, how was it for you?
Thank you. Well, it was interesting. First of all, it's very good designed, and it make your expression, because when you play it, you can see that someone made his job, and it's well, it's something where money and efforts was invested. So its user experience is beyond expectation.
Well, if you're this type of technical aspect guy, I can tell you already what I want to mention also again at the end. There is version 2 in the pipeline, which will be announced in January, and it will be super cool in interface, because you can see clearly that the telephones they use here is 6 or 7, 8 years old. So that interface is going to be very much refreshed. and there will be also more interaction on the screen. Thank you. And from a leadership perspective,
I was confused several times because when I had my dashboard, I had flow metric and also I had profitability metrics.
Yes.
And I didn't understand how profitability is important in this in this game, because I made several decisions thinking more about profit than about the flow. And I didn't and then haven't chance to see where's the balance between these two metrics and how to manage at the same time flow and the profitability.
Yes.
And I think it's very important.
Yes, it is related to I think what Rustam said, that these dimensions are independent in the game, like we think very often in reality. So something might be very good for an individual from a professional perspective, but it is not interesting for the team. But it is maybe good for the team and for the individual, but financially it is not good. So these three algorithms, and there are several algorithms running after each of your decision, because the fourth one is actually the psychological dimension. So these are very different, and these dimensions are driven by your decision, and they are not related to each other. But the Spirit of the Wine Award is related to all of these sub-dimensions. Okay, Bulat, thank you very much for your feedback. Also, Spirit of Wine. I just take a note. Balance. Okay, let me move on. I would like to tell you who was partly the winner of this game in different contexts. So when you go into the Fligby game, and you will see a tab which is called My Results, you will see your own hashtag #1, which is your first game round result. And then there is this FL, which is 22,000 players globally accumulated over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So quite a large database we have. And you can see the FL is the sort of the global benchmark. In a company setting, we would then use a company benchmark. On an MBA, I will show you always the G, which is your group average benchmark. And I can see that you played, all of you, very diligently, a bit longer than the average would normally play. In this group, the people who finished 10 participants, you spent almost 7 hours, a whole working day, in playing and learning for yourself. Congratulations. The average time would be a little bit less. There is a range. And in that respect, I can tell you that the person who played the longest in this game is Rustam. Rustam, you're extremely long player. You took it very serious. You played a long time. Can you tell us how long you played? Do you know?
I think it's even showing me 12 hours, but obviously I did not sit on all the 12 hours, right? Because it was a weekend for me.
Yes.
I opened it in the morning. And I was basically, I knew that basically, as I understand, the game time does not affect your scoring, right?
No, it doesn't. It's just something for us to see how much you play. But some people, they play long. For example, yours 12.5 hours. And after 20 minutes, the system thinks that you fell asleep. But the next person, Diana, for example, she played 8 hours. So I think she was thinking like a lawyer about all the details and thinking long. Some people who played very, very fast, probably they are very fast decision makers in reality. And we will see that this we can also use as information later on. So the person who played, by the way, the shortest is 5 hours, is Sergei Grechin. He played 5 hours in this game. So this is the first feedback. The second sort of interesting data I see on screen, and you also see, is your media library usage on average. It's 34%. And again, there are people who did a lot of 99% of the readings. I think it was you, Rustam, correct?
Yes.
Rustam,
basically, I opened
very few.
each.
Tell us. You opened each and everything. I will agree that the movies with Csikszentmihalyi are redundant. They're not very good. We will remove them. But what did you think of the reading materials in the other related reading materials?
Well, I really, it was very comprehensive and I liked it a lot. I did not read everything, obviously, but I opened each, part of it, and I found it very useful. Some things I knew because of, in my current job, but some things basically you do it, but you kind of forgot the background, why you do it. And it was a very, very good reminder. And basically, overall, I think I found almost each management aspect in this library. That's what my impression is.
Thank you very much for your feedback. This is giving me flow as well, because we did this years ago for leadership education, and you did this very, very high level prestigious MBA with the very high positions you have, and even you as a random reader, you appreciate that. So that's good for me to know. Thank you. So for all of the others who did a little in the readings, there is a lot which you can still continue in the game, in the library. Okay, now let's talk of the decisions which we have raised. So you were playing online, and there were all these different issues, like what to do with the environmentalist. Should I force her to retire? Should I prioritize? Yes, okay, but how? Should I ignore this personal conflict? Is this a real important conflict, cash or quality? So which is the decision some of you felt that you would like to have a discussion about, which was going on in the story?
Maybe if I can make a comment, yeah. I from the very beginning, I felt that you have to, because this lady, right? I think Jen, right, was doing.
There is elderly lady Ellen. There is Rebecca, the saleswoman, and your office manager Jen.
Jen, yes, I'm talking about Jen. So she was overloaded, right? It was clear from the very beginning, and she was doing this CFO job, which was to me kind of ridiculous, right? So I was looking for a chance to hire a CFO from the day one, but I didn't have any chance. So that was a kind of one of the downsides I found. Yeah.
Yes, so it is always easy to have money and to hire the right person, but we wanted to give you the challenge that you can't hire people, and in fact you have to work with this lady for a long period. So what is the question you have?
Myself, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a dilemma. This was the difficulty, but what is the decision dilemma you had?
Decision dilemma. Yeah. Okay. So I think it was very clear. Let me remember.
Okay, maybe I will help you, Rustam. When at the end of the story, the game asks you whether you promote this lady to something different, but you don't have a CFO as you were hoping. How did you decide?
Well, I finally, yes, I promoted Jen, but it was when the decision about moving Ellen to HR was made, and then the place was the vacancy was clear. That's I think last scene I announced her that she's promoted.
Yes, but what about your financial person? Because you were waiting for the right financial CFO to arrive, and it didn't come. And then Jen asks you whether you could actually give agreement that she should do this community activities, and you still have no financial person. What do you do then?
Well, I would still hire a dedicated finance person, because to me it is important, right? Financial of the company in the long run, it's critical, right? And it's very important job as to me.
But you have a big more importance in having a financial person, somebody who's doing your office manager work and to look after the accounts, and not so much so important to have somebody to organize community events. So why did you promote her?
Well, I promote her because she she was good, you know, at this. She was a good candidate, right, to take
Yes.
over from Ellen. Also, you need to, in the companies, right, you need to move people, right, and open positions to have a kind of new ideas, new thoughts, and it's refresh your organization. It is important. So that's, and basically, as I said, I would hire, if the game would continue, I would hire the finance person and also maybe office manager, right? At the end of the day, when the person is doing a lot of stuff, right, it can you know, last for a short period of time, but you know, in the midterm, she will be nowhere with everything. So I would probably hire, you know, as I said, a financial person and the office manager with organizational duties. So that's I would do next year.
Yes. You know, I did not promote her in that scene when I played the first time many years ago. Somebody else did not promote Jen into this new position. Andre, did you promote her?
I frankly do not remember.
Okay, it doesn't matter. You know, I did not promote her because I thought this situation is completely out of professionalism. It's a company event, a party, and I thought that even if she would not be good in the current position and she should move on, this is not appropriate. So there can be completely different reasons why people take the same decision or different decisions, interpreting the context. And I have learned myself that I had a strong heart out of stone. I should have promoted her because it was obvious that she is not good at doing the job she's supposed to do. And it was obvious that her flow is in working for the organization. She's a very loyal person. All these companies, in the global companies in particular, they want to have loyal employees for years. They give them money. And here is Jen. She earns little. She's doing a bad job, but she really is a loyal person and a bridge to the community. So I should have realized that irrespective of the circumstances, she should be kept and her creativity and her loyalty should be used for the organization's advantage. Okay, which other decision dilemma did you have? What about this cash or quality debate? How to make money in this industry? Maybe yes, Bulat.
It was the main issue that confused me because I didn't understand why can't we make two brands and sell different type of wines under different brands. It was a point of discussion in the end of the game, and there was some legal issues, I understood.
Yes.
But I mean, I think in the most critical for me part of the game, I made the decision to sell this substandard wine without putting company's brand on it, and it completely ruined my relations with Alex.
Yes.
And still, I'm sure I was right because I was thinking about profitability and resources for investments.
Yes.
But still, game.
Okay, let's have an intellectual debate here with others. Thailand, what do you think, why doesn't this company just have both two brands, an expensive and a cheap brand?
Actually, what I think is going to create a confusion in the market. In terms of marketing, it wouldn't be right from my point of view. Actually, from my point of sight, I agreed to get rid of the existing stock, the cheap ones, actually. But the further going on, according to your vision, producing two different brands and including a cheaper one, it's not going to be consistent with your vision. So that's why I think that it won't be right.
Andre, what do you think?
I agree that it basically creates confusion, and it's because it's like I think similar to diffusion of branding for many automobile brands.
Yes.
Because it's like I don't know, selling a small Cadillac or small Mercedes-Benz. Yes, you gain some market share and gain some cash, but then you lose on your core customers who pay premium price for the premium product, and they don't want to be associated with those who purchase kind of cheap product.
Bulat?
Well, I'm not sure. It's not obvious for me because and vision is good, but you can't be stuck to your vision. So, and management is about confusion. Sometimes you should create confusion because it helps you to solve other issues. And I think tactically you can go to the vision. Vision is about long-term something, and sometimes you need to make step back and do something that maybe not accordingly to a vision, but it's temporary because you solve other issues. For example, there was a statement that facilities on this farm are projected to the volumes, to the some volumes that should be produced. Otherwise, you'll have problems with your financials. So still, it's not obvious for me as a decision. I wouldn't say that vision answers all the questions.
Other comments?
Yeah, if I may add also, obviously, right, once you, to me, right, when it came to your vision setting, right, and mission setting, right, and if you state that you will be concentrating on a high quality, then you have to stick into it with some deviation, but you cannot state we will produce high quality and then produce low quality at the same time. You will not look consistent, right? But there are some, but before you set up your new strategy, right, there are also some other, points which, were quite obvious that your chief winemaker does not support producing low quality wines. The previous winemaker of this direction, his ex-wife, right, who was doing it, actually she quit. So basically you had literally no one who would really take care of this low quality wine, right, production, and and basically it was some other comments from Alex that it was more about chemicals, right, not really the quality, even the low quality of the wine. So it was some kind of implications you had to consider basically. And if you have your chief winemaker who is responsible for producing them, you have to listen to him, right? And if he is against, then basically you won't do much in this direction. So strategically, right, that was to me clear that if I keep Alex going forward, I have to get rid of this low quality story. And it was basically also further in line with the vision we created all together.
So Rustam, how to make money with more bottles of wine or with Alex's quality strategy? What do you think?
Oh, well, with high quality you can also make money, right? It does not contradict to each other, because if you produce high quality and good wine, right, what stops you from producing more and more and grow your sale? Yeah.
So Alex has got a point that we can make money for the company and for the family with selling quality wines again. And Rebecca has a point that we can make more money by selling more volume. Both make sense. One is called in Porter strategy of differentiation. You command a higher price because of this. And the other one is cost advantage, and you make profitability above average if you have higher volume and you concentrate on your cost base and you have a margin inside the value chain. So why, Rustam, do you think that they decided to go for the Alex strategy? Did he win the power fight?
Well, yes. To me, again, right, because I was at the time, right, of the setting new strategy, I was already general manager, and as I said, I didn't see enough, I fully understand that you can go for differentiation, even you can place it properly. A lot of companies, right, they participate in both high tier and low tier markets, right? You just give a different brand name and you kind of make a separate division in the company. It's still okay, but in here, as I said, in a frame of the work of this game, I mean, as I said, I found that the chief winemaker, his ex-wife, right, who was actually cooking this low quality wine, she quit. and it was no one who would really support, producing this wine. And Alex, I wanted to continue with him, and he was very respectful when his opinion was completely against, and I took this into account, right? So, and that's the reason for me. I decided to concentrate on high quality and going for basically.
So why again? Is it just because Alex won the power fight and his ex-wife left and Rebecca is now alone with the volume? Or why did others think that this company, the designers of the story said that the company should go more for the quality direction? Is it because of Alex?
To me, mainly yes.
Okay. Thailand, what do you think? Why did they go more for the quality wine?
It's apparently that during the era of the previous general manager, they didn't go for quality, and they played for the market share. And at the end of the day, according to the given data, we know that the financials are not very good.
Yes.
So it's something that it's proven that it didn't work. So they had to change it. And in addition to that, historic-wise, they have a brand name which is stick to the high-quality premium wines. So I think because of these two reasons, they should go for the high quality.
Yes, so maybe you can see on the screen also this Michael Porter's basic strategy about strategic management and the industry average, and you want to be above the industry average. And if a company is in the middle, stuck in the middle, the customers are not unclear what they are really buying, but more importantly, the leadership is also confused in what to do, which direction to move. Then the profitability is below industry average in the middle. It's called stuck in the middle. And the company, in this case, is right there in the middle. It used to be quality. It wandered off into volume. And coming a little bit back to Rustam's ideas, and the reason is not only because of Alex. The reason is because of the company's history, because of the family values, because of its older brand name, but more importantly, because of the team spirit. So most people in this organization, except for Rebecca, really would love to have more this quality differentiation strategy. So the vision is not a vision by the owners only, it's also a commonly shared vision. And this is the reason why I think not only Alex, but also the whole team's consideration is to move into this quality direction. Now to the basic question which was raised, I think by Bulat, why not both? I think, Bulat, the reason is that this organization is too small to do really both of these strategies at the same time. They can't handle the very high complexity of optimizing for both strategies, and that's why they don't have two different brands. They're actually moving, they should be moving from the red zone, the stuck in the middle, the quality zone.
Well, I'm not discussing here vision. I'm discussing, there is a Russian oligarch, Russian Forbes, Mikhail Friedman, and he has a proverb: money is calling.
Yes.
And when money is calling and when the contract is on the table, you should take this opportunity usually.
Yes.
So you can have vision and maybe vision is right, but talking not strategically but tactically in the concrete situation, you had the opportunity to sell a certain volume of wine and have money and take resources for next investments. Why not to take it? That's my point. Not about the vision and not about the strategic marketing.
You're right. So this is correct. So Rebecca's flow is actually to sell as many bottles as possible, to catch the money when it's on the table, to optimize for the cash flow. And Alex's idea is really about fame and reputation, and it's about opinion. So how many bottles would Rebecca want to sell? Probably she would love to sell as many as possible, endlessly number of as many as possible. But for Alex, it's the other extreme. How many bottles is his flow to sell? At least one, okay? So Alex would satisfy his own professional flow and in his expertise, even if there is only one bottle, which of course would be very expensive maybe because it's the best wine in the whole world for that particular year. And so these two extremes of Rebecca selling everything and any bottle is the one extreme which you have to handle and balance, and then Alex, who has no sense or little sense of business needs. And Bulat is totally right that Alex's flow needs to be balanced, and he needs to be understanding that sooner or later we also need to think of cash flow and to bring in and catch the money when the opportunity comes, even if the overall strategy is to move towards the quality direction of the organization. So on the screen, you can see that there are endless number versus one bottle of wine. And somebody who's really suffering from all this strategic confusion is Chris Strickland. He's the production guy, and he does not know how to optimize his machinery, his production. He wants to be left out of it. So his personal flow is not quality, it's not volume, his personal flow is stability, operations, being able to plan. And that's why Chris is likely to retrieve from the meetings. He tells, you should make up the strategy, but he's a core player in this management team as well. And therefore, you need to develop him in respect of understanding that, he needs to be part of the decision-making process. Alex needs to understand that the cash flow is something which is also a reality, but his flow is quality and one bottle. And for Rebecca, it is actually to understand that we can't just push the volumes and higher because it completely distorts the organizational fundamental value and Bulat also the mission of how the company feels it. She needs to make also this development. So on the screen, on the results screen, when you take good decisions, it appears in a dimension which is called trophies. So trophies you get in the game when you make a good decision as an interim day-to-day manager from once after the interviews, when you make a good motivating decision on that. And Diana, by the way, has 75 on that, so she's the highest on that. I will make now the attempt to go deeper now with this scene, and we're going to watch scene number 10, in which Larry has booked some time with you into your office, and Alex starts to appear, and he says that he must speak to you. I'm going to show this, and then we'll see the three decisions, and let's have a discussion about what the decisions should be. So, or what you have decided, because I see the statistics. So it kicks off scene number 10, that there's Larry Turul. I will have a meeting with him at 9 o'clock in 15 minutes. A local community representative will come in an hour and 15 minutes at 10 o'clock. I got a letter from Kathy Jenkins. She's complaining about the noise, and we have refused to talk with them. Oh my God. And then what is this? Larry Turul writes again a letter. He wants to explain me what? Something around a special method of harvesting. Chris will not come. Okay, fine. And then what happens?
Larry is here. He's arrived after a scheduled meeting. Also, Alex is waiting here, and he said we really need a minute of your time. Who should I send in?
Jen, please give me the phone.
Wait, Alex, stop! No!
A minute of your time. Won't take
Uh-huh.
long.
So the system is asking you, whom do you meet in this situation? It's 2 minutes before 9 o'clock now already. And 9 o'clock was the meeting with Larry. Or do you give the priority now to Alex, who suddenly arrived? Either you tell Alex that you are busy now at the moment, and he has to ask for an appointment, like everybody else does. You're busy. Or the B option is you let Alex in, but only give him 3 minutes. Maybe I ask you, Andrei, which one did you choose?
Well, I think I gave him 3 minutes because it's if something is urgent, okay, let's talk. But anyway, kind of unless it's an urgency, then let's discuss it in more details.
But Thailand was saying that he learned that he should not micromanage the whole situation. And why do you handle something which is urgent?
Well, I think it's Why not? It's like, well, if the person spent kind of one of the top managers spent his time thinks something is important, then why not give him the opportunity to talk? Again, I think it all depends on, because I think obviously any game gives you limitations, because
Yes.
in reality it will be very different. Because,
Yes.
for example, it's one thing if you, for example, because, for example, typical for me when I manage teams is that I have, I don't know, pre-scheduled team appointments every week. So as long as, yeah, and if a person comes with something really urgent in between this, then it probably is worth attention. And here, obviously, I don't have an opportunity to establish this flow, so it's kind of, I don't know, obviously inaccurate representation of what would happen for me in real life.
Yes, it is.
But again, it's it's a simulation. It's understandable, yes. So it's like kind of, I think, very difficult to say which approach is correct, even in theory.
Yes. What would be the advantage if you tell him, you know, please wait, let's go according to my meeting plans?
Well, I think one of the, again, well, advantage is obviously he may think something through and give him a message that obviously he should, I don't know, solve some issues, but at the same time, if it's indeed something urgent and needs to take attention, your attention, that you may kind of miss something.
Mm-hmm. Other aspects or comments? Which one to choose? Rustam?
Well, I would also listen to him, right? Because something urgent, you know, it could be some HEC health issue as well. You don't know. But here again, I remember it was a kind of first time when Alex jumped in like that, right? Yeah. But if it's, you know, it's continuous, that he jumps in, you know, because he cannot, you know, plan for the meeting, or he just, you know, get used to that, you know, previous manager would listen to him. Obviously, next time if I don't that it's just his style, I would tell him, no, please please wait, that we'll talk later. But obviously, you know, in reality, if something urgent, you know, people would ask for a few minutes, you would always give it to him, right? If it's really urgent.
Okay, so for this particular decision, all of you in this group decided what we think is the slightly preferred answer. You decided to let him in, and we think that the situation is that either of the two will be hurt personally in his feelings. But we think that Larry probably has a character who's a little bit more cheerful. He will bounce back faster. And Alex, you have seen in the introduction, he's already really pissed off, to say, you know, he's an apathy. Second major argument is that he is the more senior manager, a more important functional manager, so giving him some time to let him in briefly is fine. Now in the game, I will choose the opposite of what all of you have decided. So we don't give him the 3 minutes, we tell him to wait, okay? See what happens then.
As Jen told you, Larry is scheduled for an appointment now. I'm available for you at a later time. Just ask Jen to give you time like everyone else. Thanks for your understanding.
I need to talk to you right now, so please don't blow me off. I have a serious problem with Rebecca. She's all hype and packaging and has no culture or clue about wine. She's asked me to participate in a presentation this morning. I'm expected to waste my valuable time on some shallow corporate tasting event. It starts in less than an hour. I mean, who's ever heard of a 9 a.m. tasting anyway? What should I do?
9 a.m. tasting event. So how do you react? You decide that Larry can wait still outside. He jumped the queue. He rushed into your office, and you tell Larry he should still wait there and treat Alex with respect and promise to help him against Rebecca in this 9 a.m. tasting. Or option B, ask Alex politely and briefly to resolve this himself with Rebecca. Or you tell Alex to respect your schedule and don't jump the queue. This was your decision. So, Thailand. He's busy. Okay, Bulat, which one would you? How would you decide in this situation?
I've decided option. I've chosen option B.
Yes.
So ask him politely to resolve the situation himself.
Why?
First of all, I didn't want to resolve his issues by myself, and second, I would like to still keep polite with him.
Andrei? Okay, or Thailand, how would you decide? I think he was called off. I just saw him on the having a phone call. Rustam?
Well, it could be, to me, it's can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So the second is ask Alex politely and briefly to resolve. No, he cannot resolve it with Rebecca, right? So I would not ask him to resolve it with Rebecca because it was not done so far, right? So it's either between A or B. So if I remember, I think I decided to go for the A. Decided Larry can wait and treat Alex with a promise to help him, because I understood it was like not we are going to sit and discuss it right now, but you just tell him that okay, well we will discuss it and handle it later on, and then still basically it's not gonna be more than a few more minutes, right? Or so I think probably A is more suitable for me here. But again, if it's a repeated situation from the Alex, I would obviously next time if I see that he jumps, I would tell him that he needs to respect it, obviously.
Yes, but Bulat said correctly that now it turns out that this is not a health issue. This is not an urgent issue. It's something about tomorrow morning that Rebecca asked him to be there to explain the great wines to the people who come to taste the wine. So this is the issue which is going on at the moment. So it's not about him jumping the queue anymore. He's in your office and he asked you whether, please tell Rebecca that I don't want to participate in this stupid event.
Well, I think I still would prefer option A in this case, yeah. Because he's your senior manager. He's you're still kind of building a relationship with him, and you understand already he is a kind of the particular personality, right, with his own character. So, and you need to basically to building right relationship, you need to understand him more before you kind of jump to particular decision. So that's the reason as I remember, you kind of by this scene you don't really know Alex very well yet, right?
No. Okay, Thailand, do you have an opinion on this?
Actually, what I think that I think we should describe the real problem in here. The first problem that Alex has an issue with Rebecca about the events. That's the first one, and which is not urgent. The second part is that about the micromanagement and respecting the schedule and the others. I think the second one is the most important one. So after that, I would tell Alex to respect your schedule and don't try to jump the queue, or I will ask, personally, I will do that, ask Alex politely and briefly to resolve this with Rebecca, and I would also say him to respect my schedule next time.
Yes.
I will tell both, but since we have to choose only one option, I think I would go with the second one.
Okay, so in this decision, 3 out of 10 who completed the game chose not B. B, we think, is the best solution or the most preferred one, because at this stage you start to realize that this is not really a strategic problem. It is about the meeting in the morning, okay? So you have an agreed schedule with Larry. You gave him the opportunity to find out whether this is really urgent or not urgent. It turns out that it's not urgent. It's not a big strategic issue at this moment. It is not the moment, we think, for him to coach and to support Alex in this respect. Like Rustam rightly suggested that you want to build a relationship with him, but let's leave that for the other moments, because Larry, also you need to develop a relationship at the beginning of the story and the plot. So in this particular situation, we think that it would be most diplomatic to ask Alex politely to resolve this with Rebecca. It's also very assertive. It is strategic thinking. So there are many skills which you demonstrate in that choice. I will show you what happens if we choose Alex to respect your schedule and don't jump the queue, to see how we would react if we would have chosen that.
Alex, when you're annoyed by something, don't report it to your manager or discuss it with others in your department until you've turned the annoyance into an idea for change. In other words, try to solve this yourself. You have to take it easy. Go with the flow. Be flexible. Just do it.
Just do it? What are you, some kind of sports commercial? Look, it's easy to say, take it easy, don't stress. Don't you understand that I'm not used to doing these kind of events? And I fully understand the implications of being unprepared. I have a hard time working with Rebecca, and she obviously hates me. All right. I can see you're trying to make light of this situation, and don't take it seriously.
So what do you think of him? He's unbearable, isn't he? What do you want to do about Larry? He was kind of discouraged. Chris called him away urgently. I bet if you run after him, you could catch him.
So everybody's really angry now at you. Larry left because Chris was calling him, and Alex is again back in apathy in his emotional feelings. Yeah. Okay. So,
Zoltan, quick point. I would still think, right, that, they have some, story between Alex and Rebecca, and it was an issue. And, if they did not sort it out to now, and he's still coming and he already came, he's not a junior person, he coming to you as GM and raising this issue, sending him back to fix it with Rebecca, to me, it won't help, because it didn't work till now. Why should it work now? So that's kind of highlight.
Rustam, I'm very thankful that you raised this, because it highlights that this is a simulation story. It's like a case study. It's an opportunity for you to have a discussion with yourself, with me as an expert in the next conversation, but also as a leadership team amongst you. Maybe you will meet again and you will want to have deeper discussions around these issues. Now, aware of time, I just realized that we almost spent already an hour, and I'm used to much longer debriefing sessions, so I need to move on. But to come to your point, you're totally right. This is a learning loop in which you did something, you experienced something, and your thinking is still going on in what would be the ideal situation in your future situation. And this was just an opportunity to make gymnastics, mental gymnastics around these opportunities. So this decision around the Larry, who has this idea of the night harvest, is something which is represented and reflected in the profitability measure of the game, because there are many ways here where you can catch the money or do the sales, as Bulat suggested. But also there is technological innovation going on, which maybe you will discover when you do the readings around the wine technology in the library, or maybe you trust this guy, this Larry, that there is something around his bizarre idea. But so profitability can develop in this organization, like hopefully in all the others, from good business excellence and also from technological business innovation. And the person who has achieved the highest profitability in the game is Stephanie. She has 77%. The group average is 68%, and you can see on your own screen. But Rustam, you have 75%, so almost like Stephanie. Congratulations for your good financial results. Now, let me move on a little bit to the next slide about the individuals. We spoke of some of these people already. Actually, most of them. I would like to ask a little bit about Joe's flow, because we spoke about Ellen's flow. It's to have a good atmosphere and no conflicts. The flow of Larry was to have great ideas, but it needs to be put into a business plan. Jen is a loyal person. She likes to have community connections, and she cannot develop her skills in business. Rebecca, we spoke about the sales. Chris about stability and planning. Alex about opinions and values. And what about Joe? What is his flow? When is he motivated? Andre, what did you discover about Joe? How to handle him? Why is he always tired and late?
Well, because that's his job to gain clients, and he spends his time in the evenings. And obviously, so he likes time flexibility.
Yes.
And I think in general, like for example, I have consulting background, and this is very much similar kind of personalities that work there. Because your time, you are not working 9 to 5, and therefore you do not like to be forced to come at 9.
Yes.
Because you are doing your job, and as long as you're doing your job, it doesn't really matter whether you're in the office at 9.
Yes. Andre, congratulations. You hit it. You decoded this character best, and you were leading him in the proper way. So Joe is probably the most business professional amongst all of these. He mentions that he did an MBA. He's put into an organizational role of representing in the evening. Of course, physically, he's tired in the morning. So Csikszentmihalyi and all our leadership has also to do something around physiology, personal body rhythm. It is not just intellectual, about strategy and about vision. It goes down to when are your working hours. And this guy, Joe, he needs to be moving into flow by giving him the complex tasks, and he can use his skills, his business skills. And he comes across like a demotivated, overcool guy. Some guys told me, and this is the type of person you would find in a discotheque at 4 o'clock in the morning telling, you can't come in. But no, he's actually just undermotivated because you don't give him the right intellectual challenge in the company. Good. So this individual's flow is represented in the sum of flow. So by the end of the game, everybody has a key decision in which they will sense that you have really understood their DNA, their character. And if you have discovered this, then by the end of the story, they will move into this flow zone, or as close as possible to the zone. And then the number goes high up. And who was the best in this? 100% is Andrei Spack. Congratulations, you're here. How did you do it? You were observing all of these in your consulting work, and then you applied it here also?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Okay. So congratulations, you have the highest score on that in your group. You're the person who had the best eye to decoding each character's sweet point in what would make their work motivated and interesting. Now let me move on quickly, briefly, to the good business principles. So what is the art of flow promoting leadership? I am co-developer not only of Fligby, but actually of a perspective which Csikszentmihalyi has described in Good Business book. And it is the idea that bringing flow to your own life as a leader is not only great for you, but it is also an opportunity to get energized and to bring in the creativity of your team members. So how do you do that? And very often people think that this has to do with money. I will going to speak about that. But flow is actually, as you have discovered, a piece of art. It is something you probably need to develop over the years. And it is the balancing between this boredom and anxiety. And for example, Larry feels bored, and he has this idea of the night harvest, and then he comes to you. He's very nervous whether you will accept his meeting with him. And then when you make a wrong decision, he will move even further into anxiety that you're not listening to his proposal. And the same, of course, is inversely true for Alex. So finding the balance between these opportunities and the skills they have is the art of putting people into flow. But it is also, balance is also the key for finding leadership. And what were the elements you had to balance in this Fligby game? You had to balance profits, individual flows, group atmosphere, and somewhere sustainability, which we call also flow trophies here at the moment. But which one is driving which one? So which is the essence of your leadership attention? Should you focus more on the group atmosphere and then a little bit on the profits, and then the individuals feel happy in that? Or is it more important to have profits, which will drive the flow? I've put together some slides for you, because some organizations think that once there is money in the company, then we can pay to the individuals. People who are motivated, they will create a good group atmosphere, and a good group atmosphere creates an organization which is growing and will be accepted by society. Again, others think, no, we need to have, for example, an organization which is sustainable. It is attractive for people to work here, and they come here because they're individually motivated. And if individuals are motivated amongst each other, then there will be a group team spirit, and then the profits will flow, or any other sort of combination. So what do you think is in the center of your leadership attention now, and what should be in the center of your leadership attention? Just a few sentences. Rustam, in your organization, what is the focus? Where do you spend most of your leadership energy on? And how much percent?
Well, speaking these days, is probably profits, if you take them immediate, right?
Yes.
Which is basically, we're under pressure, taking the market situation. The profits is the number one. Then, but absolutely agree that all of them are interdependent, right? Big time. So then looking a bit forward, I would say sustainability will be important, right? For maybe for us particularly, but for any company. But to get profits and and to keep company in a good space, you need individual flow and group atmosphere. So basically you do it every day anyway. So
yes.
This is what's how I see it. Yeah.
Yes. So Bulat, I think he works for a financial institution, if I recall well. For him, it is clearly stronger in profits. The more the companies are doing commerce, financial aspects, the more they are driven by Excel sheets and reporting systems. But this whole idea why I came here to you and is to talk about how these organizations really got big. They didn't get big because they had money, but they got big because they did good business, which was attractive to the people who did build it up. And this is the model of my leadership preaching or teaching to you, which maybe you would want to also discuss with your own management team and your organizations. And we think that the primary focus of you as a leader is actually onto individuals. In Fligby, you had to focus mostly, almost exclusively on individuals, and no financial calculations to optimize the story. And the reason is that we think that your individual leadership or flow influence is happening on individuals, maybe happening a little bit on the corporate atmosphere. And these two dimensions, people and teams, are then producing the more abstract financial profitability and sustainability. So this is the development which probably you as executive MBAs have already experienced, but people in the lower management, especially in finance and technology, they don't think that people management is so important. They think it's bad, but they don't see it as a central piece in order to achieve their goals. They focus on the goals, but we would like to focus and have a dialogue focusing on the leadership aspects and the way how people leadership can drive organizational success. So this is the essence of Csikszentmihalyi's good business, that in order to have business excellence, it's actually one dimension. The other dimension for a good leader is to be able to create a workplace in which people are creative and motivated and feel meaningful. And the third level is to create an organization which is actually good for organization beyond the organization, for society, something where it's worth for you to invest your time and energy. If life will end, you should look back and say, I spent my time and energies in something which made sense, even if I'm not here anymore. I have put into the slides, which I will share tomorrow afternoon with you. Also, again, the link to Csikszentmihalyi's brief interview. It's a bit better than what we had in the other part of it. So the spirit of in the library, the Spirit of the Wine Award. Who is the winner? Well, I have here a list, and 3 people won the Spirit of the Wine Award. It is Diana, tomorrow. Andre, congratulations. You won the Spirit of the Wine Award because you had a balanced approach, you had a balanced view on these 3 aspects. You had enough score on corporate atmosphere, enough on profitability, enough on summer flow, and enough on the flow trophies. And then there is a cutoff line. I just cut it off on this screen, but I think it's here. It's 47% of the people who win the Spirit of the Wine Award. So we set the system that every second person should be motivated to try harder and cannot win simply the Spirit of the Wine Award. But there is something interesting, because Rustam, you also won the Spirit of the Wine Award, but you have not been mentioned, for example, like Andre, who has 100% in summer flow. And this shows our approach that a good leader is actually a balanced leader. So you have enough scores on these 4 measured dimensions, and it's above the threshold, and that's why you, Rustam, you are also amongst those who won the Spirit of the Wine Award. Who is the real winner of this game? I think you are the real winners, all of you, of this game. You had the opportunity to learn about these emotions, about the balancing and the observation of skills and challenges. If you will go back to the slides, you can check out the slides number 40 to whatever, 48. You can go deeper and looking again at the body language and the emotions of the different mental states. So let me move on now to a very different aspect of Fligby, because so far we spoke mostly about the emotions and the people and the characters and how to play and the library. The other topic has to do with management skills, 29 leadership and management skills. Why do they matter? Well, as you can recall, they matter because skills are the input to finding flow, to finding your leadership challenges, which will be putting you into the flow yourself. So if you don't know your skills, then you will not be successful. The basis of this intellectual work is not a survey on LinkedIn or some HR people who think that this is the skills they want to see. The basis of these skills, which we're going to talk about, is Anglo-Saxon, American organizations from all sorts of industries, like entertainment, IT, financial, but also defense and oil and pharmaceuticals. And Csikszentmihalyi made a longer research project at business schools, colleagues in America, in Harvard also, and he interviewed these CEOs for a longer period. He asked them about their secret of success of building these organizations, and this is part of it. But the other thing which he also did is he identified which leadership skills they were applying, using for their success. And these skills, which they have mentioned, were measured in the Fligby game, in the story. We think that it's a very innovative way of measuring your leadership skills, because none of you really have said a questionnaire about who you are, what you think you are. All of you were just playing the Fligby story, interpreting the same story the same numbers, the same decisions you had. And for example, in the first decision you had to take whether you're going to look at the web page with Bob or not. All of you decided in the same way that you will have a look with the owner. You will, for example, tested, just as an example, how far you are actually thinking emotionally. Your stakeholder management is when you say, yes, let's have a look at the web page together. You're thinking, you have active listening. You feel that this guy wants to say something. You have scored a point for diplomacy. So this is just a quick example on how the skills, which you are going to see now, have been observed. So whilst in the cloud, first you were seeing the green screen, which was driving the game and the decisions of the game and how the metrics go. When the game is finished, the data is reanalyzed based on the decisions you took, and it creates a second report, which is your leadership skills. So now, here are the 29 skills which Fligby has observed. I would like you to have a quick look at these, go through them one by one so that we can briefly clarify whether you fully understand or at least have an idea of what these skills are, which are seen here on the screen. Active listening, analytical skills, assertiveness, balancing skill, engagement and trust, creating engagement, creating trust, have a business-oriented thinking, to be able to communicate your decisions and your opinion, to manage the conflict, to delegate tasks, to be diplomatic, to show emotional intelligence, to empower your team members, to have an entrepreneurial spirit, to take risks, to do things yourself and execute it, to give feedback on how they are doing, how they're on track, to have a future orientation, a long-term vision, to ask questions, as a type of information gathering, to be intuitive thinker, not knowing what the data is behind it, just to have a gut feeling, to be involved in your team, into your organization, not to be remote, to be able to motivate your members, to organize the work of your team management team, to be able to prioritize, to know what's important now and what's not important now, to take decision when there is time pressure, and not too late and not too early, to be able to see who's in charge, who is good at what, who should be in charge, who is good at what, to understand the family context, the organizational, societal context, to have social responsibility, to understand the social aspects of your decisions, to be a strategic thinker, like volume or quality, to manage the team, that they cooperate as a team, and to manage the time, that the time is not elapsing through your hands. Okay, now if you go into Fligby system, which maybe you have already done, then you can start to see your own skills report on the My Results tab. Rustam, do you see yours?
Yes, I have it on a separate screen.
Good, very good, because I see you. It's very, very helpful. Thank you very much, because I see what you're doing, so I can involve you easier. And what you see on my screen, on the shared screen, is actually your cohorts, your group members' highest scores. It is 82, for example. That's the average. What is your highest score?
My?
Sorry, I should have mentioned this. When you are on the screen and you see the results, you can click on the results, and it will sort it. It will make it. It has a sort function, a ranking function.
Okay, so let me see if it's yeah, now I see it. So for me, the biggest one is emotional intelligence. It's 88.
88. So now you can see, and this is why I will share with you in the slides the group averages, that compared to your group people, you know these people, you know Bulat is here next to you, and Andre on my screen. Your score is, and their score is included in this, And for you, the emotional intelligence, for example, is more developed based on the decisions you took in the story. Okay, which is the next one you have?
I'm ask you. So I've got the line which is mine. Then below it's probably average Fligby, and then something in blue called
Yes,
P.
I was about to mention that. It's P. It's percentile. It means that out of the 22,000 players we have in the database, how many are weaker than you are on that particular score?
Ah, I see.
So a high percentile is good for you. It makes you pretty unique on the job market.
Okay.
Because very few people, in our observation, took the game in the way that they had scored higher than you did. So for some reason, you were inclined to take decisions in which emotional intelligence is needed and is very high for you. And that's why you then have a very high percentile score. And this is the score compared on the job market, so to say. But more important is, of course, your own profile, your own skills. So which is the next skill you have very high? Maybe you can share.
It's information gathering, I think. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty high in the group. Third one then?
Diplomacy.
Good. So do you use the skills in your workplace?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Can you give us an example where you had to be emotionally intelligent and be diplomatic?
Well, well, of course. There are situations where for example, you have a situation sometimes when your peers or even your higher manager sometimes have different opinions on the same subject, right? And basically, and probably sometimes these people, they are not even talk to each other, but they want, something to be done their way, and then you have to be diplomatic, right? Not to piss anybody off, but get them together and discuss the issue, probably, and let them understand the whole picture of the situation, and not to blame anyone, to find a joint solution, right? The best for the company. So this is how you do it. Yeah. And for emotional intelligence, obviously the same, right? So basically, you, as I understand it, right, you can be as your own character. You could be the soft person, could be tough person. It's fine, but you have to know where to apply what, actually, right? So some situations require to be very diplomatic. Some situations require tough decisions. So when you have to understand which to apply. So that's
Yes. So Rustam, this is the issue for the personal call, the conversation, where we're going to go deeper in how you apply actually your strengths. So if Rebecca is very good at doing negotiations and doing sales, what are your leadership situations where you're applying your leadership skills, right? So it's the same analogy, and you should be ideally now enjoying the situations, because according to our measurement, this is what you're good at. And this is meaningful for you. You drive the process. You negotiate with emotional intelligence. This is the moment for you where you are at your best, and people can probably learn from you, and you're being very creative and meaningful. So this is the analogy. In a company setting, we could also analyze the lower set of skills. So what are the skills which are least developed or least used? Sorry, here. Not only the top skills, but we can also look at the lower skills. In the screen, which you also see the spider representation. It is putting together the 29 skills into dimensions so they can be better understood, easier. It's used in the United States for public administrators and government positions, in which the 5 dimensions which are being measured, you can see leading change, people-driven, acumen, and building coalitions. And your cohort is, congratulations, significantly stronger than the global average players we normally have. Very often they're very overlapping, and there are slight differences in 1 or 2 of the 5 dimensions. Here it's all of them. Another activity you could do with yourself, and we can do about this in your conversation, is think of Alex, put together his leadership skills what set he has, and then think that Alex is not called Alex, but Alexei, and he joins your team, and he's not this age, he's maybe 10 years younger. What kind of job could you give to somebody who has the leadership profile of Chris, of Ellen, and Joe? Don't think of them as a character with the age and with the hairstyle. Just think of them in terms of leadership skills. What kind of job would you give them so that they enjoy their work in your organization? Now, this was a brief analysis of the skills, but we still have a few more ideas here to come. So now it's the moment that I'm going to ask my colleague Stephen, Professor De Cray. Can you tell us what is this, what you wanted to announce, please? Hello.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, well, first off, Zoltan, let me congratulate and thank you for this excellent debrief. I hadn't heard it myself, and having played the game, I got a lot out of it. I think it adds much learning to the game. The game itself is instructive, but the debrief adds so much more. I hope all of the student alumni actually will schedule one-on-ones with you. I think part of the benefit will be to go through the actual scoring and give more insight into the meaning of the results. And I think it's a very special opportunity, so I hope the alums can do it. As you know, we are testing this game with you. The intent is to consider it for future cohorts. In fact, even beyond, there are many programs that I think could benefit. Online learning is so critical these days, and this is one of the most sophisticated activities leadership that I've come across. And finally, let me give you some other good news. We have the option, all of you, of playing this game a second time. I did it myself. Once you get to know the characters, you'll find that the flow of the game, and flow mean literally, is much easier, and you get more learning out of it once you've been through it, because you have a better understanding of the business, you have a better understanding of what's ahead. And so I would encourage all of you to take that option. You won't be pressured by time so much, fit it into your own schedule. But playing that game a second time, I think you'll get numerous benefits, and it's also quite enjoyable. I mean, you're part of a case study, it's a story, it's interesting, and by the way, who doesn't like wine?
Yes.
So Zoltan, this has been worth getting up at 5 in the morning for me. I'm still self-quarantined in Mexico.
Yes, hold on.
I'll be traveling back the end of the week, but let me again thank you for your effort here. This is a high-value activity, and I'm delighted that the schedule worked as it did. So, and I also want to thank the students for their participation. I gotta quit calling them students, Zoltan, because these are our graduates, but our alumni. I thought the interaction was very positive. People are open and willing to share. That means a lot. And I look forward to seeing them at their graduation whenever we schedule it. So
yes.
Back to you, Zoltan.
Thank you. Dear participants, I still need about 10 minutes of your time. We still have 5 bonus, so probably we'll run 5 minutes late, because I still have a few thoughts for you to share with you how this goes. Of course, part of the experiment is how much time we need for this online, because as I tell you, it's normally a very complex leadership development program, and hopefully it will be shared not only with Skolkovo and UST Hong Kong, but maybe even your organization. So here's the surprise which Stephen wanted to announce. I'm very happy, thankful that he did so. The essence is that this game is not finished yet. You can access it for 180 days, and you can go through the story again and again. Why? The adult learning loop, which we think that how pedagogical programs are developed, is that you now have received a tangible experience, what mistakes you did. We were talking about this, you were thinking about this, you started to generalize a little bit the conclusions. I would like to invite you to apply the same knowledge in a second loop of the game. So basically you log in again and you restart the whole story, and you will see your scores for the second decision support. It is much faster. The second game is half the time you took for the first time, because you know all these characters, you know where to press, and you will be much more enjoying the game. MBAs who played it, they said the second game was super interesting, because now they focus on the body language, the confusions which there is. So basically, Fligby had phase 1, where we are now. Here is the third phase. We have the debriefing. And the next phase will be that you are going to hopefully replay the game as soon as you can. Working with me, you have possibility to do that next week, or any time we can arrange alternative times during the next 2 to 5 weeks, in case you need more time to replay. But you don't need to replay until we have the individual conversation. And stage number 7, actually it's 6 in this case, is that you replay again the game again and again if you wish. So I think the opportunity is still there, that you can still improve yourself and try out different reactions. My second big announcement to you guys is that I'm going to send you a 42-page, very exclusive PDF report about your game results. It is explaining to you the whole idea around Fligby as a leadership development tool. You will see, for example, on the screen here on the right side, where the people should have been according to the game designers, and where they have ended up in your particular game, how we converted the emotional states, the mental states into a number, so that you can see the 100% and the 75%. So I'm going to send this out in email tomorrow afternoon to all of you, and you can please read it and use it as a preparation for our conversation. Also, Mr. Fligby is going to say very, very interesting, personal, spicy, supportive, and criticizing comments about you as a leader. So there is a scientific part of it, there's a reporting part of it, and then there is an interpretation part of it, which Mr. Fligby is telling to you. I therefore invite you to replay the game, so that it is not going to stay boring for you and not too difficult to choose the right balance. What could be this new goal, the possible? You could actually maybe improve your game metrics to be the best in profitability. Maybe to try out what happens if you constantly want to go against Rebecca, against the volume strategy. Or you say, no, the volume strategy is the one we want. What will happen? How can you improve the team atmosphere? How can you maybe move everybody into flow? You can focus on, most of you should focus on finding the balance for winning the Spirit of the Wine Award, because only 30% won it. So 7 out of you still have, this challenge to be a good balance leader. You can also change your gaming style to play very, very fast, super fast, just based on intuition, no thinking, and see what leadership profile you will get if you would be a different person. If you played very slow, very reflective person, you could also play very slowly, do all the readings in the library. And the last one, which is the most interesting, is to focus on one of the skills, to develop your skills. So this is important, guys. So far, you were developing your skills based on your own experience. Maybe you got a coach. But here you can use Fligby as an exercising tool, like an aeroplane pilot is using basically a video simulation to see what happens in the machine, what happens with me and the passengers if I would fly higher, steeper, differently, more dangerously. So you can actually develop your skills. Which skills you should develop? We think that the most important skills you need are the flow skills. They're related to the concept of flow. And the first skill you should optimize is to be able to think strategically. So when you're thinking strategically, you know what the tasks people need to do under your guidance. You should develop the skill of giving feedback. So that's feedback skills. You should develop the skill of recognizing who's good at what, and also recognizing personal strengths. That's skill number 24, and skill number 4 in the ABC is balancing skill. It is to know who should do what type of work at what stage. So the 4 skills which I recommend, which are the most important for a leader to have to put others into flow, are 4, 15, 24, and 27 because of our logic. Second possibility, you could go back to your activity from the briefing where we spoke about your leadership idol. What is what you would like to be like, and what leadership skills you associate with being either of these different metaphors. So this is what we're going to speak about also in the individual conversation. Which one did you pick? Which skills are you proud of? How can you use them? The third dimension to develop skills is what is needed for your organization. Maybe your company, like I could imagine, is a very conservative company, financial company. They don't need much risk-taking and entrepreneurship, but they are thinking probably more about a long-term strategic thinking, long-term assets. So depending on your organizational skills, strategy, certain skills you might want to develop. And this is the moment where many people ask to use this for their company because they would like to make the company a little bit more better in giving feedback or being better in executing and doing things themselves. And then you play the story, the game, by focusing constantly where on hell, which decision, where exactly could I show that I'm very good at doing things myself. I want to catch all these 10, maybe 20 decisions where execution skills are needed. And by the end of the story, end of the game, I will see if my scores have changed. So the system will always show on screen your results. Here is a student of mine, Tomasz Bodai. He was very obsessed with the game, and you can see how often he started the game. And I have not mentioned to you, but until scene number 10, you can go into the settings and you can also restart the story. You can restart the scene or the whole story, but he was really curious on finding out how would people react if he's a bad manager, if he's a good manager, a good guy, bad guy. All in all, I wish you to be your true self, to develop your skills. I ask you to please book your one-to-one setting on the link above. You will get the slides tomorrow. So you can click on it. I also ask you to put this into your calendar that these 180 days will run out in 5.5 months. So you can put it into your Christmas and winter period for the January to replay it and revisit the whole story. It will be a great experience again. So this was the topic we did. We spoke about the game, how it was for you individually. We had a debate around the strategy, how to balance it with the team, how the characters play a role in all this. We spoke briefly about Csikszentmihalyi's good business principles, and they're strongly related to who's the winner of the Spirit of the Wine Award, people who can balance different leadership dimensions. We spoke about the 29 leadership skills which were measured and how to interpret your profiling. And now we spoke about your next steps. All in all, this was to make you aware that positive psychological capital is a source of competitive advantage. And to develop that, you need also a leadership development within the organization. You did it for yourself. We don't think it's a nice to have category. I think it's one of the most important problems and issues which organizations are facing now. And you yourself were brave enough to participate on this project, but also more importantly on your qualitative and global executive MBA. I will share with you information that you should read this book if you can in Russian. Most of you are from Russia, but it's also available in Turkish and other languages. It's called Good Business. By Csikszentmihalyi, global bestsellers from the flow. You can access my book. I will have also this slide shared with you. You can read a little bit on the introduction. It is about Fligby and the flow leadership concept. There will be slides sharing even more resources with you if you want to go deeper and explore our blog site, my Facebook page, or my LinkedIn page. There will be a new version of Fligby I have mentioned in January. So thank you for being so brave and going through that process already now. There will be a more hip and more colorful version of it. The key message is happiness does not simply happen to us. It's something we make happen. Being a good leader is not something which we are. It's something which we're learning and developing and investing in. I hope that this excursion with me to this more clearer view on what to lead better and how to lead better was useful. I'm coming to an end, my friends. Thank you very much. Maybe just a few feedback on how this session was, one by one, for those who are left. Rustam, how was the session for you, this debriefing session?
Well, it was very useful, very interesting. So again, I found the game great, and looking forward, to play it again and for the briefing session as well. Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to speaking with you in a quiet, slowly, more deeper, emotionally intelligent, deeper way, individually in the upcoming call. Okay, Andre, for you, please.
Yeah, I think it was very, very useful and great that we have an opportunity to replay the game a few more times.
Thank you. I hope also the debriefing put it a little bit into a wider perspective. Again, although I do this online and I live online, believe me that in a group setting, it's even more engaging. But I'm very thankful for your valuable contributions in this conversation. Thank you very much.
And Zoltan, one more point. Thanks a lot to Professor Steven de Grey for giving us this opportunity and HKST. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Steve.
Yes.
Thank you for participating, Zoltan. It's been terrific. And just a reminder, this has been a pilot for us, so you will be getting surveyed. Give us some feedback. Let us know about moving forward. Obviously, there's real serious self-development for you, but we're also looking at incorporating it into future content courses and that sort of thing. So we'll be very interested in your feedback, and I'm feeling very positive at this point. Zoltan, you've done a wonderful job, and I know you'll continue to. And you and I might do a debrief after it's all over, just to see what the future may hold.
Yes. I'm going to write you an email also in this respect. Okay. Friends, you speak with those who have not played the game yet. Of course, you don't know who they are, but if you have internal chat boxes or chat rooms, please encourage those who have already logged in and have not been able to complete it. 2 of them are. So please share your own experience as ambassadors now. Thank you very much. May the flow be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks.
Steven.
Zoltan, are you still there?